All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Serious Angler podcast. In this show, Andy and I are joined by MikeyBalzz, and what we're going to do is talk about him being the OG of YouTube, the spraying of grass, and the threatening of another demise of Guntersville, as well as much, much more. It's a great episode. If you missed this week's Tuesday Night Live, we had on Casey Smith for part one, which was Wednesday's show. If you missed that, make sure you go back and watch. But we talked about what his win on the St. Lawrence River, as well as the demise of the hottest lake right now in the country, and that is Cayuga Lake. Might seem all sunshine and rainbows, but unfortunately it is not. There's a lot more going on, and that lake is seemingly approaching a stage that does not appeal very well to us anglers. So there's a lot going on. Make sure you guys tune in that conversation to see the whole scoop. But let's get into today's show with MikeyBalzz. Oh, yeah. And so with that, we don't have a commercial to split these things up. So we're going to go into it right away. And let's get him on here because we've been keeping him waiting for 20 minutes now. And that is Mr. MikeyBalzz. What's going on, bro?
What up?
Dude, Casey is a cool-ass dude.
Yeah, he is.
He was like, I was trying to work on the side while you guys had me in the back room freaking kicking me to the side. And like, then you're working and I'm like listening to him. I'm like, that's a really good point. And then he's like working and he says something. And then he brings up grass, which is interesting because that's been kind of a topic on Guntersville, dude. They're talking about spraying freaking Guntersville. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is a cross-nation issue we're running into. So it was kind of interesting to hear some of his perspectives, dude.
Yeah, and that was one thing, dude. It's been craziness, bro. Craziness in a good way. In a good way. Yeah,
that's good, dude.
But to your point, though, Mike, I wish I had gone to and asked Casey about the steps he'd gone to get involved with the state, because he's really led the way for us in getting even just in touch with these organizations. Him and Lorenzo, and so like. We're seeing it now. I saw that letter that's been posted around about what you're talking about of spraying Guntersville again. And we've seen I don't remember how many years ago it was, but all the bass boats lining up to defend the grass so they couldn't spray it type of deal.
I hope it doesn't come to that again, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I'm going to start some shit. Like, no, I already have a video in queue on my YouTube channel for later this week. Like, because here's the deal. So Casey's, from New York, like he's always been there and that. I'm a transplant, right? Like I saw somebody in the comments, I think it was like Mike Soul talking about Florida. Like I'm a transplant from Florida. I see where the end of this story goes, dude. And it's not a good place. So like everything starts in moderation. Everything, has a good meaning. Everybody's well-intended. And then the shit hits the fan. And like we have that same problem when they're talking about the pellets, dude, where all of a sudden they drop pellets on one part of the lake. Why is the entire lake dead? Like, is it wind current? Like what happened? Do you know these chemicals? Do you know what they're doing? Do you know what consequences they have beyond just killing grass? Like there's a whole gamut of stuff, dude. So when they started talking about that, I got fired up because I don't want to have to move again, dude. I literally like 50% of the reason I moved away from Florida was because of the grass spraying. Like I'd had enough, man. So it's something that's definitely like on the forefront. I'll tell you one thing though, there's a couple things with Alabama. One, a lot of these people live on the lake. They can pull this kind of shit in Florida because a lot of people don't like they're swamps, right? So people don't like live on these lakes. They're kind of like removed from what's happening and what's going on day by day, especially where it started on Okeechobee. But people in Alabama, dude, they're living on the lake. They see that. And a lot of people, it's a very, I don't know what the right word is. It's a very recreational and outdoor type of culture. So they're not going to just take this and be like, yeah, we got to get rid of the grass. Like there's going to be a lot of backlash and, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, dude. The more people complain, the more people start problems. That's going to be the way to solve this. I hate to say it, but I don't think traditional pathways are going to stop this from happening. Like, we got to be annoying. We got to be Karens. What's the male version of a Karen?
Is it Ken?
Ken,
Is that what it is?
Matt, Ken, whatever.
So
we got to be that.
Brad.
Yeah,
somebody.
like we got to be. That's the only thing that's going to stop it is pissy people, dude. Starting freaking not physical problems, not aggressive problems, but making a stink and really kind of pushing back against it. You know.
Yeah, I still just can't believe what you're saying. Dropping pellets in a TVA fishery. It's like, do you not realize that there's generation, there's current, like,
well, that's
obviously
what
that
I'm
thing's
saying. Well, dude, and not even the pellets, but like spray gets it too. Like that stuff all swirl. You don't control the water, bro. Like they sprayed in a creek. If you were to actually put like a bobber in the creek, that bobber would end up on the main river because all that swirls around and it moves. Like the water's always moving, dude.
You could do like preventative action, you know, like if they do habitat restoration or rip-rap construction on waterways, so like cone it off and put like a fence or whatever down to block sediment from leaving. Maybe that's what they have to do when they spray, is cone off.
No, it's very simple, bro. They don't fucking spray. Sorry. Yeah. They don't spray. Like it really, it's so here's the funny part, and I don't want to get all like soapboxy and stuff. The lake is fishing better than it's fished since I moved there in 2017, 2018. The past 2 years, look at the MLF, look at the local tournaments. Dude, the amount of 3, 4, 5 pound fish, as well as just giant bags, has been astounding. The lake is on an upswing, and granted, some of that is cyclical, no doubt. But there is one correlation. I see more hydrilla on Guntersville than I've ever seen since I moved there, dude. And you can't tell me that that doesn't have something to do with it. The eelgrass as well, dude. A healthy fishery, teeming with grass, teeming with life, teeming. What do they call that? What's that word for the bio something? It's like the weight. It's some word for weight. Biomass. The biomass is like freaking insane, dude. There's minnows, there's brim, there's speck or crappie or whatever they call them up there. And you want to go and spray it. Like it
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I understand why. There's a lot. If I owned an $800 to $1.5 million house on the lake and I had grass beating my dock to death, I would be pissed too. But they've implemented a lot of harvesters in that, which is the lower impact kind of pathway. It definitely doesn't do as much, but like that's how you do it, because the more you play with something, the more you get consequences that you'd never expected to happen. And that's what I'm concerned with. And that's what happened in Florida, dude. It started as this little kind of well-meaning thing, and the money and the consequences blew out of control. And now you can't stop it. It's a steamroller, dude.
Yeah. Well, and I'd argue there's not many lakes that can have this argument, but Guntersville, I feel like one of the major economic impact factors is fishing.
100%, dude. Yeah. Nobody would know what Guntersville is, like the town, if it weren't for that lake, bro.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing that drives me crazy is, like, I understand, like you said, you got an $8 million house on the bank, but like the only reason that the town's getting any money is because anglers know about it. They're buying licenses. They're spending money at the local gas station. When they're from New York, they're from Canada. You know, people go there to go fish because it's it's like Lake Fork. People go there because it's like Lake Okeechobee. People go because it's well known. So why would you do anything to damage that?
100%. And I think that's the only thing that might save us is, whereas I don't know much about your northern lakes, so you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but at least my experience growing up in Wisconsin, the lakes, people fished, but it was very recreational, right? Like you go to lake, you go up north to drink a few freaking old Milwaukees and sit on the bank or tool around in the tube, and that. Like Guntersville is a fishery first and a recreational area second. And I think it's one of the few lakes that you can say that about. Maybe some of the lakes in Florida as well. But I think that's something it has going for it. And the way the culture and sort of the infrastructure is built around it, it supports that. So I'm hoping that's going to kind of forward our argument or be like a strong wall for our argument. But I'm just worried because of this, dude. Like I said, they're well-meaning. Like, and if they want to spray some of this grass, I understand why. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I see there's tons of grass. It's getting into the turbines for the dam and that. But the same thing happened in Florida. I'm not going to go into the whole expanded story, but like 2010, there's 2 airboats spraying on the north end of Okeechobee. Fast forward 5 years, and that's like every week or so, once a week, you know. Fast forward 5 years, 2015, there's a fleet of 30 freaking airboats on Okeechobee there every day, bro. Every day. And by 2015, we were starting to not see grass. So they were just spraying that shit wherever, dude. It was a joke. Like it's so the money thing is dangerous, dude, because they built a whole cottage industry that's a standardized, you know, what do you call it, backed up paycheck. The government's paying for it. This company grows. And the last thing they want to do is cut down what they're doing, because that means that check goes smaller and smaller and smaller, you know?
Yeah. What's the group that Scott Martin pushes? What is the anglers? Is it AFLO? Anglers?
Yeah,
for
AFLO.
Exactly. And that's even on a crazier deal, because haven't they linked that whole Lake Okeechobee spraying to like red tide in the ocean and everything like that?
So, all right, if we really want to, so Casey was, Casey was talking about rabbit hole. So here's the funny part. There's always been red tide, and this is what nobody wants to talk about. It always happens late in the summer, you know, August, September, July-ish. It's always happened. It happened less when there was grass in the lake, because it strained the lake, and it really strained some of those giant blooms that would happen, because then that would filter through. It would go out the different ways out of Okeechobee. Now that grass is gone, it's worse than ever, dude. So yeah, it's kind of a chicken or the egg kind of deal, you know. Like it doesn't. It's I don't know, and there's a lot of interest involved. Okeechobee's a funny deal. You have the coastal people, you have the inland people, you have agriculture, you have Army Corps of Engineer. It's a lot of politics, a lot of money, a lot of pushing forward, a lot of pushing back. But frankly, the red tide thing has always been a deal. The algae blooms have always been a deal. They were just less when we actually had grass.
Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up too, to clarify. That's freaking pleasure boaters, man. It always comes back to them running over your spots, you know, 20 feet. I always enjoy those videos of those guys going 20 feet with them.
Like, as long as they don't go spraying like a bunch of well, and the funny part too with Guntersville, dude, is the river's always open. There might be floating grass, no doubt about it, but like it's navigable, dude. Like I don't know. It's the funniest part, dude. They recorded the press conference. And Paul from GTO has a little like social media crew, which is awesome, because Paul is invested in the lake, you know, financially and also spiritually. So he had his guys go and record it, and this dude gets up there, and it's a bunch of politicians. So you're like, yeah, great, you know. This dude gets up there, he's like, I'm a crappie fisherman, you know. You can't fish for crappie when you got this grass. I don't know what kind of grass it is. It's just floating around on the and I'm like, bro. Like, you're supposed to be our angler representative, and you don't even know what the hell kind of grass is floating around on the lake, really? Like, you're just like,
oh, great.
It's the same shit you get from the stupid politicians all the time. They're never going to forward your interests, and that's why we have to be self-advocates. You know, we got to talk about it. We got to bitch about it. Yep. We got to make a stink and make our voices heard.
Is there – so, like Casey was talking about the group that we formed here in New York. You know, we talk about AFLO. Is there a group in Guntersville that's like together to give you guys a voice type of deal?
Not that I know of, but I'll be totally frank with you, Bailey. I'm not a group guy. You kind of know me. I mean, we've known each other for a while. I don't play well with others. I don't collaborate. I don't, you know, so I've always been on a solo mission. But the one thing that I do know is there is a strong Facebook group for the lake. There's 2 of them actually. And in my personal opinion, if something starts happening that has negative outcomes, I think it's going to take 2 posts on there to get a bunch of guys together to really cause like a, I don't know what, I don't want to say like a bad thing, like, but to cause a reaction, you know, maybe to cause a bunch of people to get together to show up for a press conference, to show up for a meeting, you know, things along those lines. I think it'll kind of self-evolve, and I know I'm gonna be pissing and moaning about it, dude. I'm not letting this shit happening. Like, it's not gonna happen.
Hey, when you post, we will happily help try to be a megaphone for you. Whenever that goes
Well,
off,
you guys got your own problems, bro. I had no idea.
It's just called USA,
that.
right? Like it's just what homeowners and lake associations do to lake to please the people who live on the lake, and they're the ones that have the loudest voice there because they're there every day, which sucks up here. You come up here, every one of our lakes just about has a dock on every 100 feet. So it's like, and those are the ones that are barking, making things happen. So
we will happily advocate for any lake in this country, when it comes to the fishing, because we've seen they've killed some of our favorite lakes here in New York, and we've helped with like Jody back with the Vermont lake that they were spraying, and we got Jody and his team got that stopped. Like, we're all about it, but man, like we'll deal with our own problems, but like G-Ville's, it's a staple, man. Like it's one of the biggest names in all of bass fishing. We all got to fight for that. So yeah, I was just curious because I'll link that down below if anybody wanted to get in there, if they needed a resource, that sort of thing. But
well, and they're teasing it. Like I'll be the first to say, I don't think they've moved forward with stuff. All of this started based on like a letter and that press conference. But the best thing we can do is get out ahead of it and cause a stink. So they're like, oh, maybe we should, leave these guys alone, kind of thing. And like, I think Case talked about it. We got to be respectful. There's some homeowners that are going to be Karens. They're going to be douchebags, whatever, like cast them to the side. But there are going to be people that you have to have a dialogue with and keep it halfway intelligent or at least halfway respectful and kind of move forward. Because there are solutions. Like I said, the harvesters, not perfect, but it's a good way to meet in the middle. And that's going to be kind of the game with this is how do we kind of meet in the middle and create a compromise that addresses some of these issues, but doesn't destroy, like you said, what a lake that's been on the top 10 freaking Bassmaster lakes for like how many freaking years, dude? Like don't screw up something. Yeah, dude. Like it's a destination, like I just don't want to see it go the way of Florida. Like that's a disaster.
Yeah. Well, dude, let's put that conversation aside because
let's cool it down a little bit here.
Yeah, it's been heated for like the past hour on this show, but that's a good thing because when you got a voice, we gotta do something with it. But I think let's have some fun talking fishing now because, dude, one thing I want to say, I apologize for taking me this long to say it, but dude, you're almost at freaking 100K.
Yeah, the longest freaking 100K YouTuber like ever. I think it's been like freaking 16 years, bro. Or like 14 I think it's the most.
It's like I'm happy for you, but also I'm just ashamed at the YouTube angling community for not getting you there 10 years ago.
I mean, it's a game.
You're the OG. You're the OG.
I've been around for a while. I don't know if I'm an OG, but I have been around for a while, dude. But it's fun and I like it and I've made it. I've been focusing on the YouTube channel a little bit more the past few years because I want to do it more. As I get older, I kind of want to focus on that and turn away from a few other things. But I am not gonna lie, I'm not a trophy guy. I'm kind of competitive in my own way, but I'm not like that kind of guy. Balls to the wall. But the one thing I am going to be proud of and not humble about is when I finally hit that fucking 100K, bro. Like I have, like that's one thing. Like it was a lot of work I put into that. There's a lot of years. I shot tons of videos, and dude, I think you get a little plaque. I am actually going to be very proud and very stoked about getting that little plaque. Like I can die a happy man at that point.
Yeah, I think you need to have a YouTube watch party for one that's ticking around that 990. Like for the moment, it's like
I'll be giving some shit away, dude. There's no doubt. Like, cause the only reason that's gonna happen is because like I got a bunch of dudes who watch the videos. Some of them are like religious. Some people kind of float in and watch the videos, but there's a core audience, dude, that has always been behind my videos, and I'll be the first to admit. A lot of the early stuff I did was rough as hell. I used a lot of crappy music from time to time, but everybody kind of evolves and changes. And dude, there's some guys that have really stuck with me. So we'll be throwing some love, like Oprah style. Maybe not giving away cars, but we'll be giving away some stuff. Dude.
Oh, so you're giving away boats?
Yeah.
Well, listen, if I can pull that off, bro, I will be in a good place. Holy shit! One day. I'll probably be you. Yeah, right?
Well,
the
dude,
Oprah of bass fishing.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, there's your new YouTube channel name. The Oprah.
The Oprah. That's actually really good. That's good SEO optimization, bro.
There you go. There you go.
Love it.
Well, dude, so here's what I'm curious about: is you're rounding out to get to 100K here. What's been if you can even recollect, is what has been the highest part of that YouTube journey, and what's been the lowest?
God, you go heavy, bro. We come off the grass, we get all heated, and then I don't know. It's actually it's a very, like, you guys play around with this. You played around with YouTube with the podcast. It's a very up and down process continually, right? Like, I don't think there's never really a point where for more than say 48 hours where I felt like, man, I'm doing it. I did it right finally. It's always like, dude, I accomplished this. Maybe I got some views. Like, I feel like I shot a really cool video. And then you turn around and it's like, I got to make another one. I need to execute on this. It never stops. So, like, I've had a lot of kind of ups and downs. No doubt catching that 49 pounds on a personal level, that was one of like the craziest, coolest experiences I've ever had before forward facing and all that. But, there's been lows too. Sometimes, your views go way down and it's like, dude, I don't want to do the Barbie, or somebody mentioned the Barbie rod challenge. Like, it doesn't suit my personality. I can't pull it off. I can't do it. What do I need to do? I really want to stay relevant. I want to make these videos. I want to make it into a thing. Maybe I wasn't cut out for this shit. Like, maybe I got to stop. And like, you hit those low points and then you got to turn around and just keep going. So it's been a lot of highs and lows, some higher than others, but I don't know. It's fun. Dude, we don't do this shit for the money. Like, you guys know that. Like, if we did, I wouldn't be on this podcast. I'd be sitting on my computer working freaking like remotely for some Fortune 500 company, making bill, like freaking going on vacation to the Bahamas. Like, this is all a passion project, bro.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing around the entire, I would say, outdoor industry. You can argue lifestyle side, maybe there's some money, but hunting, fishing, no one does it for the money. If you're thinking you're going to get rich, obviously there's the 1%ers, but like, you're in the wrong industry. You can get comfortable,
rich spiritually and intrinsically, like the reward of like executing on a great podcast, the reward of winning a tournament, the reward of like shooting the video you always wanted to shoot, whether it gets views or not, dude. Like, for us, that has a lot of value,
Yeah. And this is the comment from MJ. It says 100,000 followers without a Barbie rod challenge is impressive.
That's the thing. I'm going to hit 100K and we're totally flipping the channel. It's going to be about big titties, freaking hot rods, bro. Like, we're just going to totally swap it up. Barbie rod challenge, dude. We're going to learn how to fly a plane. It's
Barbie rods and bobbers. Got it.
Barbie.
There you go. We got Michael Bradley here. Says Mike, you should do a nostalgic series. Pick up an old tracker, tear up the carpet, break the windshield, and flip a 2-ounce all day.
Dude, it's funny he says that, because actually one of the things I want to do is get we have these lakes down. You guys have been to Alabama a few times, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got Guntersville, and then there's like Smith Lake over there. In between the two, there's some lakes where you can only have like a 25 horsepower motor. And I want to get a John boat and redo it, but put like 2 12-inch Lowrance like pros on it and forward facing, and go fish some of these like small lakes with like a pimped out John boat, dude. So that you might actually see that down the road.
Dude, I should hook you up with my buddy Chris. He actually lives on one of those lakes, and it's full of big largemouth end spots. I think it's a 99 horsepower restriction.
Yeah, something like that, dude. But they're cool. Like, that's what I grew up fishing, is like these little, I guess up north we call them like finger lakes and stuff like that. They're like little finger impoundments. And I like that stuff, man, because I'm an old school bank fisherman down in Florida in the HOAs, running around getting chased out, like that stuff's fun, man.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan Lee, he does that. He's got that little John boat sitting in his garage. I think, sounds like a little, what's the brand? Is it Tiny Boat Nation or something like that? That sounds like a in your future.
Yeah, well, and he's got some access to some naughty places. I'm just talking about the public lakes, but I know Jordan and Matt freaking, they grew up there, dude. They know where the juice is at. They know old man freaking Jim, who owns the little impoundment on the mountain and all that, dude. So Maybe I do need to reach out. Did I ever tell you how I met freaking which one won the classic? Was that Jordan?
Jordan, yeah.
So I met those guys when they were in college fishing, like 2010 or 2011. They were fishing for Auburn, right?
Yeah.
And they were down fishing. Hell, it must have been back in the Everstart series. It'd be the FLW Everstart. And we were fishing a freaking line, flipping mats. I think it was like Harney Pond or something. And this dude in a beanie, this thin little like green bean looking dude, all tiny, you know, goes blazing by and freaking swings around. He's got a beanie on. It's like 50 degrees in Florida. It's freezing. He's like, hey. And I'm like, hey, like, what's up? He's like, dude, I watch your videos. And I'm like, bro, cool. So we sat down and we literally power pulled down in this like hydrilla head that was still hydrilla back then. And bullshitted for a while, dude. The most grounded, down to earth dudes you will ever meet. They are so freaking cool, man.
Yeah,
Awesome.
the Libros they're some of the gems of the fishing industry.
Good people, dude. And still, like, what do they say? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Not them, dude. They are like straight up like good dudes, man.
Jordan nowadays puts out some of I think the best content, best authentic content that some of the pros make these days, because it's wanted to let him and Alton Jones Jr. do some pretty funny collabs when they get together. They're doing it the right way is what I'm trying to get at. Is Jordan's definitely paved quite a path, and you know, Matt over on BPT will be interesting to see what he does moving forward. But yeah, dude, it's cool. We got some good ones in this industry, that's for sure. We got a lot more good ones than we have bad ones.
I agree. Well, and it's just like the FFS thing. Like everybody making the shitty always gets the attention. So like, you know, it's the same thing when it comes to the pro guys, dude. It's one guy does something bad or there's something questionable, and then it reflects onto everybody versus that vast majority being positive, doing cool things, you know, just being a positive influence for everybody. You know, you don't see that because everybody wants to focus on, you know, whatever the hype treachery is for the day, dude.
Yeah. Well, dude, so on the getting back on the YouTube side, like you make quite a different array of videos in regards to style. Do you have a favorite that you like to do? Maybe that you get more excited than others to go produce?
I'm old school, dude. I like polished, fancy stuff. I'm also a realist, and I understand that gets no views, bro. So if in an ideal world, I would like to take a camera guy, go for 3 days, balls to the wall, fishing like 14 hours a day, waking up at crack acid dawn, putting the drone up, shooting the grass, shooting like the active target, like getting all this B-roll. Because one of the things that I really enjoyed coming from the very old school YouTube thing, one of my goals was to always render the experience of being on the water. So like, yeah, it's about the fish catches. Yeah, it's about learning, but there's something, and you guys know about it. Like there's something about being out there and tooling around and finding fish. Like it has this sort of wizardry,
like an aura.
like this. Dude, it has this amazing experience to it, like this feeling, like you drop the boat in and there's nothing that can describe like that moment of what's going to happen today, like how are things going to play out, and capturing that and trying to render it on a visual level via video has always been something I've been super into. But to be honest with you, I just like making shit. Like in the end, like I like to make things. I like to say, let's try to do this. Let's try to execute on this and see what happens. And then oftentimes the outcome isn't what I thought, but that actually adds to kind of making the content cool, you know? Like I like the dynamic aspect. We're not filming a freaking movie, right? It's not scripted. Yeah. There's all these, you can set up basic parameters, but how you get from point A to point B, bro, it can go left, right, U-turn, forward, up, like down. Like that's kind of the fun part with the way I approach videos. Cause I've never hooked a fish and put it in my live well and rehooked it and thrown it out there to act like I caught a fish. And I'm not going to say any names or anything like that, but there are people in the mix that do that kind of stuff. I've always really relied on like, I want this to happen because I want to have the experience and share that experience and show that experience like literally like uncut, like raw, you know? And and that's really, I guess if I'm looking for a mission statement, that's it. Like I want it as raw dog, uncut, just real. What happens, here it is, dude, like it or not.
And I think that is what does well these days. Like people can sniff out BS better than they've ever before. Where it used to be
benefit of the
YouTube
internet
was like gospel, but now I think there's a lot of so much misinformation that people are getting pretty good at sniffing out what's what. But
I agree with you, because I think early on in YouTube and that, like, people were pretty manipulatable, maybe is the word, and I think people are a lot smarter with that. They can smell a freaking raw fish or dead fish in the mix,
Oh yeah, I mean it's like the top 10 baits from the pros these days. Nobody trusts those things anymore.
Yeah,
nobody trusts
that. Well, the only thing that's saving us though is the live, and I like that, because that's one of those things where you can't sneak around that joker,
No. The one thing though I wish they would change. Granted, I like it as a student of the game, like if I'm researching a new place or something like that. But I understand if I'm an elite pro, I would hate it. Is that damn map that shows where every person is at and where they're fishing?
Oh,
they need to stop that, dude. Like that's honestly killing some more fisheries than anything else.
That's another video actually I just freaking shot that I'm editing and I'm gonna put up. So so they bojangle, and dude, I'll be totally honest, I've bojangled spots. Like I see them on there, and I'm like, holy shit, I know where that is. I want to check that out, And so one of the questions that I got coming up is that happens in pro fishing with the lives all the time. What's the ethical sort of response when it comes to guys on YouTube? Like, is it equal freaking rights, equal fights kind of thing? Like, do you bojangle that? Like, what's kind of the play? So I kind of did a video sort of investigating, the different dynamics of when it comes to kind of seeing somebody with, on a spot on a lake that like what's your approach, whether it's a tournament or whether it's a YouTube guy or whatever, and how do you navigate that, and what's sort of your goal, what's ethically correct, and that kind of, maybe I'm over teasing it. Probably go watch the video. It'll be out in a week.
It's all right. There's only 2 people watching this, so it's only those 2
Seriously?
people. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. We love to downplay the show. Andy and I's mother.
Wow,
yeah.
I think I saw a few more in the comments, but okay.
Yeah. I got my
just
parents
AI bots that we had to pay for to hop in the comments.
It's very nice. Dude, I got a couple of those. There's some hot chicks, bro. They commented on the video I dropped today, dude. I'm like, give me some more comments. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
I'm selling these t-shirts. Like it's like the big Facebook one. Like you'll be in like someone like looking through a video and be like, oh, so and so buy my t-shirts. I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, it's bot.
Yeah.
I'm just glad they got rid of the one. There was one like 2 or 3 years ago on YouTube where they would steal your profile picture. They'd create a name that was semi like your YouTube channel name, and then they'd put prizes behind it or like contest. And bro, they were jumping on into the comments and be like, you just won. Da, 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 da. And it looks like your actual profile pic. And I had a couple guys that freaking went down the rabbit hole, and I'm like, bro, like, I can't help you. Like, you should have reached out to me directly. You got to recognize this, but I think YouTube finally put the kibosh on that deal.
I just hope they didn't buy the gift cards and give them the numbers off the gift cards.
Yeah. So we have Bass Fanatics asking, I think it's like the 4th time he's tried to ask. So I apologize, it took us a little bit to ask, but he's asking if you're fishing the ABA this next season.
I'll probably fish a few of them. I don't. So my schedule, I'm actually down in Florida right now, full disclosure, and I spend like maybe 3 months of the year or so down in Florida, and I think that's when like the ABA up by me starts in Guntersville. So I'm not there when I'm there, and it works out. The other thing, and this is going to sound so lame, and I'm probably going to get some hell in the comments, I've fished them when the weather's going to be decent. It's not because I don't want to be out there in the nasty weather, but when I do stuff, I work a lot of different jobs. Like I work for myself. I like the YouTube thing is kind of like it's a side gig that I'm trying to make more of a main gig. You know what I'm saying? So any hour that I get to fish has to have some kind of calculated value to it, along with pleasure. It's always fun to fish, but I need to be able to shoot a video. I need to be able to execute on some kind of task when I'm doing it. So weather's got to be nice. I'm a fair weather fisherman. You know you're getting old when you say that, dude.
Hey, it takes a lot for a guy like yourself to admit, though, that he's a fair weather fisherman.
I mean, it is freaking. It is what it is, dude. The GoPros, and it's funny too. It's like the dog. Like you need like this perfect weather. It's got to be like 65 to 75, no rain. You know, so the GoPros don't overheat. They don't get wet, and it's just whatever. The dog is the same though. He hates the rain, and his ideal operating temperature is like 50 to 73 degrees, dude.
Love it.
Yeah, I love that. There's I look at that spectrum, and then there's the Andy. I think about our pal Jeff Hibbert, who'll go out in like 12-foot waves on Lake Erie in 30-degree weather.
Listen, I can't tell you how many times I've driven by Sun Life Marina, Small Boat Harbor here in Buffalo. It's blown like 65 out of the west, and I see his boat and trailer in the parking lot, and I'm like calling him like, dude, are you alive? He calls me back like 4 hours later. He goes, it took me a long time to get in today. I was like, how big were the waves? He's like, well, when I went out, there were like 3s. When I came in, there were like 12s. No big deal. I'm like, oh my God. Like, how was the bite? Oh, I smashed them this morning. Like,
certified just psycho, but we love them all the same.
Hardcore.
Like, Jeff, you out there by yourself? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, nuts, man.
That's bad.
Nuts.
I still go out in some nasty shit. I feel like I paid my dues on Okeechobee, like going out in the tracker and the tin boat, dude. And it's like rolling like 4-foot freaking swells. And I'm like, yeah, let me go run 15 miles, you know? Like,
Really?
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting older, but it is what it is.
Hey,
Okeechobee or Guntersville is a lot less treacherous, I think, than Okeechobee, to be perfectly honest. It's easier to hide.
Yeah. Well, so that's actually leading to my next question is, so from Florida, you said you're a transplant to Geva, obviously from Wisconsin, but if you had to take Alabama and Florida out of the picture, where would you want to reside?
Probably Texas, I guess. I think I'd do pretty good in Texas because it's like big fish, but it's south, you know, and it just seems like it would fit. Like there's grass, there's timber. I don't know. I think it'd fit, and the lakes are flatter too. So probably Texas, dude. And it seems like these guys coming. There's some places like New York kicks out like some good anglers, right? Florida kicks out some good people. That Tennessee, Alabama kind of, you know, little triangle, and then Texas. And like there's good guys that come from all over. Don't get me wrong, but there seems to be like hubs that offer some, I guess, instructional diversity. You know, they offer a lot to teach you about a lot of different techniques and stuff. And Texas is probably one of the tops on that list. And plus you throw the bigs into the mix. Like I think that's kind of a no question deal. But that's the thing too, man. Like I moved to Alabama so that I'm like more able to go around. Like I've been fishing. We go to Lanier every year to run the Gambler Free Tournament. Bro, one of my favorite lakes in the country. I have a fetish for spots. Don't get me wrong. That's part of the problem. But like that place is ridiculous. And I don't even care about catching big ones. The number of bites you can get and just have fun, stupid. And it's only like 4 hours away now instead of freaking 9 hours away when I'm in Florida. And like, I'd like to make a trip up to North Carolina. That looks really cool. You know, I sneak up to Tennessee. I'm at a hub where I can get around, which is one of the coolest parts about Alabama. I'm 12 hours to Florida, 10 hours in Wisconsin, bro. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, how often do you get north?
I went the past 2 years. This year I can't with work and stuff. And I go at the shittiest time of year. I'll be the first to admit. I go in September. It isn't good because like either the cold fronts whack it and make it tough, or it's still hot as balls and the fish hate it, you know, like because it's the end of the summer. But we had fun, man. Like, and I go strictly to try to catch some smallmouth. I don't dick around with no grass, no nothing. And it's fun. I don't have time this year, and it kind of sucks. I need to come up by you guys. Like, I can't tell you how many people are like, oh, you got to go to New York. You got to go to St. Lawrence. You got to go up there. And I'm like, I need to, but don't have time. So
Yeah.
Gotta make time, man.
I know you do. That's the
Oh,
way
I say
life
that about
is.
going south. I'm always like, I gotta go, but I never have time. So
I can't get Andy to drive 2.5 hours, let alone 8.
Well, but I mean, you got some epic shit up there. I probably wouldn't leave. You do enough fishing in like 4 months to cover you for 12. That's the only beauty of like being up north, like with the winters and that, dude, is the amount of fish you guys catch and the way you smoke them all summer makes up for like sitting in a house with freaking the heat on, being covered in snow, not being able to get out.
And to be honest, the winters here aren't even as bad as people like portrayed them to be.
It's
Like,
Northeast anyway.
yeah, like I live literally in the snow belt of New York State. Like, we have 2 distinct snow belts. There's north of Syracuse, and then there's the Western New York snow belt band, where the ski resorts are just south of Buffalo.
Yep.
And I'm like right in the northern tier of that. I'll tell you, we get lake effect snow. Yeah, 4 or 5 snowstorms a year. When it doesn't snow, it's like 32 and cloudy or 40 and cloudy. The snow melts in 4 days. Like, we get 90 inches, it's gone a week later. Like,
Really?
Oh yeah.
Has it always been that way, even when you were growing up?
Some winters, yes. It depends on El Nino and El Nino winters, etc. Like, I'm fully predicting this winter to be a cold one, probably a lot of snow because El Nino or whatever the weather pattern is. But like,
whoever that chick is that swooped in.
that jerk of a chick that makes everything super cold and sucks the jet stream way south, so we get more polar vortexes. Like, but like last winter, we got one big snowstorm. It moved a Bills game back a day or two, and everyone thought it was the end of the world. And by Wednesday, the snow was gone.
That's correct. That's the way it is in Alabama, though, too. We had so this past year, I couldn't come to Florida. Literally, we were locked in our house for 5 days. We had this much ice just rock hard on the road, and it wouldn't go away. But normally, we get this nice little fun deal where it's like, oh, look. And I tell the girl, I'm like, come outside. It's snowing. It snows like 2.5 to 3 inches. We throw snowballs at the dog. I freaking face wash her. We make snow angels and all this. And, dude, within like 12 hours, it's gone. It's the perfect amount of winter for me.
Love it.
In a perfect world, I'd love to snowbird, spend the summers up here like March-ish, I say April, come back north, but like spend like, I don't know, December to March in either Florida or Texas.
That's like what I've been doing, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and I got to come down here for work, but I come down like January through February, March-ish, and then I dip out and head back to Alabama, and then I got to come down in like August, September. So it's dreary and hot. I personally like it, and there's no snowbirds down here. So it's like quiet, nice old Florida, or at least somewhat quiet. There's a bunch of people that moved in, but it's kind of nice. But honestly, dude, if I lived in an ideal world, I'd go north to freaking Alabama after like March. I'd stay there till like June, and then I'd come up by you guys until like September, and then I'd spin it back down and make my way south. So when I win the lottery, dude, I'll show you my RV, and you can jump in and go for a ride, because that's what we're doing.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's good. So dude, here's one thing I'm curious. So with the move to Bama and adding that to the mix, and obviously you've traveled decent. What has been the biggest thing you've learned from a bass fishing standpoint that may have impacted your game from going from Florida to Bama?
You're gonna laugh your ass off, dude. Seasons. Like, I shit you not, bro. I shit you not. Like, the thing that blew my mind, like, and I grew up in Wisconsin. I didn't fish very well up there. I was like a kid fishing and dicking around, right? But you get down to Florida, and I tell everybody this. Yeah, there's some tweaky things you can do. There's some sneaky stuff that we do. But if you got 4 rods on the deck and 3 of them have braid on it, like, you'll catch fish 365 days of the year down here, dude. No doubt about it. Like, and so this whole seasonal thing where, like, dude, you pattern out the fish. Like, it's like, dude, I figured it out. I got it going on. And then Mother Nature's like, okay, we're going to the next round. This is what we call the transition between summer to fall. And I'm like, shit, come on. Like, I just figured this out. Now you're going to do. So really the changing, you know, that evolving season, that's why my two favorite seasons up in Alabama are probably the summer months, you know, that May through June, July. And then I actually really like the winter, dude. We hit like November, and November through say like January, February, like is fun because things are very consistent. So if you put your time in, you can dial things in. And yes, there's changes and things, you know, evolve, but it's very duplicatable, you know. So like that, those have really been my learning times too, because I've learned about how these fish kind of set up. And if you know where they go in the hot and where they go in the cold, it makes it a lot easier to kind of find the middle ground. Because in my opinion, fall and spring, like they're transition periods, like throughout the entire thing, right? Because they're moving up, they're moving down, and if you can kind of put two different points, you figure out the in between.
Oh, that's amazing. Seasons.
Dude, I shit you not. Like, and it sounds so stupid, but like, well, so you know what? I'll tell you a funny story too. So when I left Alabama, I've only been down here like a super short time. We were transitioning. There's this time in like September, like late August. It depends year to year when they start keying in on this small bait, right? Like real tiny things. I just put up a video with this. Have you guys seen that Raid Libero? It's like a swimmer or something. It's basically like a mini underspin that comes pre-rigged, dude. It's like 2 inches long. It's minuscule. So one of the last days I had on Guntersville, dude, they're schooling. I'm like, this is the shit. This is so cool. So I throw a big old swim bait at him, dude. Freaking don't catch dick. I'm like, what is going on? Throw a bunch of baits at him. Dude, I cannot get a bite. I'm watching them make fun of me, dude. They're like, ha, ha, ha. They jump out of the water. Ha, ha, ha. Look at it, you know. I'm like, dude. So I pick up this little swim bait thing because I've been playing with some JDM stuff. And, dude, not a big bag by any means, but I probably caught like 30 fish in like an hour and a half, dude. Just one after the other. A lot of like 10 to like 14-inch fish. But, dude, if it's pulling on your shit, I'm a happy man, you know, like whatever. So I got down to Florida, and I haven't had a lot of time on the water because I've been fishing. We shot actually a TV show for JT Kenny, his JT Kenny's Florida Bass. They smashed them, and we were catching some fish on some bigger baits, right? Big swim baits, things along those lines. It's freaking awesome. So Mike finally gets a chance to fish, and he goes out, and I'm like, I got all my big baits and all this stuff. I'm going to, bro, they will follow that shit, and they will not eat it. And I'm like, dude, so I waited freaking a week, and now I can't catch fish. Well, they're transitioning down here to smaller bait too. There's all these glass minnows running around. So I finally pick up like this little tiny Kitech, and I go to freaking catching them. Not like giants, but I think I had like 23, 24 pounds. And it's all like small bait. So like, even though you don't feel it in the weather, I think now that I understand some of those seasonal transitions, those seasonal like changes that occur, I'm looking at Florida in a more granular way, and some of that stuff is actually happening, even though you don't pick up on it happening from a weather standpoint, from the the leaves and all that, you know.
Yeah, I feel like with Florida, they especially you, like one of the things I've learned about Florida from your videos is like even a half of a foot depth change on a flat in Florida can be huge. That sort of thing. But I feel like it's almost relatable to the temperatures, where if it's 85 all week, but it turns into 79 the next week, that could be a seasonal change.
Freezing, bro. That's freezing. Yeah. No, that's very true. Everything is magnified, exponentially because the margins are so small. It's an interesting place to say the least. And I love it down here. Grass spraying aside, like it's a fun place. And if you want to fish grass, if you're into like that high impact fishing, frog fishing, fishing a chatterbait on braid, like and flipping mats, like you can't beat it, dude.
Yeah. I think the people that can really adjust well are the people that travel and see different places at different times. That makes any sense. If they see different regions, I feel like those 100%. People are the most best adjusted or equipped to be adjusted.
Well, I think that's what we're always doing though when we're fishing in Derby. Like even like say Lake A, which is next to your house, and Lake B, which is like 2 miles from your house. you're always taking things you learn from Lake A and trying to reapply them to Lake B, even if the water's a different color, even if it's a shallower lake. We're all, what do you call it, like mimicry and modeling, right? So we see a bite, we see a pattern, we're trying to reapply that and readjust that. One of the things that I did, dude, we caught that 49 pounds, right? Back in the day, I think it was like 2012, 2013, I do a lot of JT Kenny's social media. Like me and him are buddies, dude. We've been buddies for like freaking 12 years now. And he wanted to get some content outside of Florida, right? Something different for social and that. So we did freaking a couple road trips to the TVA, to Pickwick, to Guntersville during that ledge fishing season. And I saw that happening and I'm like, bro, like this shit is very applicable to some of our clear little like small lakes down here in Florida. So I took a lot of that stuff, tweaked it, for presentations down here. Maybe I made the baits bigger. Maybe I used heavier line. Maybe, things like that. Fish something lighter because we're shallower, And dude, a lot of the big bags I've caught down here have been because I took some of those basic skills, those basic techniques and concepts, and sort of just reapplied them to some of these deeper, clearer lakes down here, the way the fish set up, things along those lines. And it worked,
Yeah. Hell yeah. It's crazy. Some of the stuff like that I've picked up from, going down to Chickamauga, place that actually gets pressure. I'll never complain about fishing pressure again in the north after going down there.
Thank you. Thank you. Chicken Guntersville, dude, I don't know how they last, dude. Chicken Guntersville, I've never seen pressure like that. Like it'll be like a line, bro. Well, I once sat out, dude, me and the girl. So you go swimming on Guntersville, right? You're hanging out during the summer. So I'll go and I'll spot lock so we don't have to be as shallow in the grass, and we'll just go swim, get a tan, hang out with the dog, play some tunes, whatever. And we freaking spot locked once. There's an area called Seabold, right? It's like mid-lake. There's tons of ledges all around it, dude. Great spot to like go and offshore fish and do some of that main river ledge fishing. So you can see all these ledges, bro. Like you can watch these guys. One guy comes in, spends like 20 minutes, he's gone. Freaking 2 minutes later, so the next guy comes in, he's like, oh, there's nobody on that. Right to that spot, dude. 20 minutes, gone. Next guy, it's like a freaking chain, bro. Like it's just line them up and send them through. It's free, and then they'll line up next to each other, and then it gets all frisky. People get angry, they say things about your mom. It's a mess, bro. Gets a little aggressive.
I think you need to be the Rob Matsura of the South and start swimming with fish on G-ville.
Bro, Rob is such an animal. So I'll tell you a little something about Rob. He has footage beyond the stuff, the few things that he posts, he has footage that literally will be relevant 5 years later. He stays at my house. We both know Rob. He's a little hippie, right? Like he's freaking on the road, hippieing around. Like he'll be like, hey, Mikey. I'll be like, what do you got, Rob? He's like, check this out. He'll show me like footage that he shot in the Delta like freaking like 4 years ago. And I'm like, Rob, that's breakthrough shit, bro. Why did you not post it? Like, this is relevant now. Like it's high quality, like artful stuff. He's like, I don't know. I get lazy, I'm like, Rob, you gotta post this stuff. He's an artist, bro. Like the things that he does with video and the perspectives that he gets, he's always on the cutting edge, and he does not post enough of it because he's always doing stuff that then like 3-4 years later, I'll see somebody else do it. And they're like, I'm the first. And I'm like, no, you're not actually. Rob just didn't post. So
he is a magician.
He is.
He's just a free spirit though.
He is. And that's why he gets the shots. He's willing to kind of do things that like are outside of what our normal concepts of shooting video, of interacting with the fish. He's a great dude. I love that kid.
He is. If you can bottle up the Discovery Channel and Animal Planet into a human, that's him.
And he's humble as shit too. Like he's always so grounded. Dude, don't let him ever tell you anything but this too. He'll always say, I didn't catch any. I didn't catch. Bro can fish, dude. Oh, yeah. Like he can freaking catch them. And he's always, I didn't catch anything except that 5, that 6. He has a 12. I don't know if he posted it. I probably shouldn't say it. He caught a 12-pounder on a bed with a drone up, dude, on a lake down here in Florida. Yeah, ridiculous. So he found the fish, caught the fish with the drone up, and got the shot. That's freaking ridiculous, dude.
That is
Like
ridiculous.
that's the higher level shit right there.
Oh yeah.
One day I too hope to catch a 12-pounder on a bed with a drone. Actually, funny story. I've caught a 12-pounder not on a bed, but freaking with the drone up. It was an accident. So I hired a camera guy, kind of like not even part-time, like 1/27th of the time, because I can't afford to hire a freaking, I'm not Scott Martin. I'm not like, one of those guys, but I wanted to try to do some things different. And dude, we get in our trenches, right? Like we're doing the same thing over and over again. And you start to see this very micro perspective of the world. And it's like, dude, you got to break out of that shit and like take a new look. And a lot of times a great way to do that is to get somebody else involved and be like, dude, do your thing. You're creative. I trust your judgment. Let's see what you can do. And so I got a good buddy who does some awesome stuff with cameras. His name's Quentin, Water Wonders Media. And he's been filming some stuff for me, does some really creative like stuff. And we went out, I think it was this last winter, and we caught like 43 pounds, dude, like mega bag. It was awesome. Gosh. So we catch it, we get it on video, freaking he edits it. It's an epic edit. Like it was a great experience. It's one of those videos, doesn't get a lot of views, ironically, but it was for me. Like I'm like, Quentin, edit this video. This is my little like prize. I love it. It's sick. So bro, we went out the next day, and basically that day I thought my goal is to always catch 50 pounds. I want to catch 50 pounds in Florida, and then I can die a happy man. So 100K on YouTube, 50 pounds, and I'll just off myself. We're good, dude. I'm out, So that morning that we caught the 43, I told Quentin, I'm like, dude, we catch like 30 some pounds or something. You can fish, like we'll hang out and just dick around. Dude, I caught like an 11, a 9, and an 8 within like an hour and a half. And I'm like, Quentin, I love you to death, dude, but you're not putting that camera down because I have a shot at 50. Anybody who's ever trying to catch a mega bag, the whole key is if you can catch a fish over 10, like this, I think the fish was like 11.7 or something, 11.4. If you can catch that cancels out like an 8 basically, because you have that pound and change. So you catch an 8.5, you're covered. That's a 10 because your average needs to be 10 pounds of fish, right? So when that happened, I'm like, Quentin, I'm sorry, dude, but you're not putting the camera down. So we fished, we catch the 43. We kind of had a lull in the day, got a little tough. It is what it is. Epic day, all said and done. So the next day we go out to shoot some drone footage and let him fish. I think he caught a few. I caught a few. We're shooting some B-roll to make this epic video. And he's like, dude, let me get the drone up. And I'm like, cool. So he puts the drone up, dude. And I got my freaking active target too on, I'm panning around. And I'm like, he's like, just cast and fish. And I'm like, okay. So I see this big blob and I'm like, fuck it, whatever. Shoot that bait out, dude. And I'm reeling. It's real wavy and I lost track of it. So I'm like, whatever. This is for B-roll. I just got to reel the bait. Bro, my whole rod loads up. And I'm like, oh shit. Like if this is the fish that I saw, Quentin's not going to be very happy, bro. Because his PB is like 9.8 and he can't break 10. And bro, I'm all bowed up. He's flying the freaking drone around. I see this fish, and I'm a pretty good judge at this point. I'm like, dude, this one's well over 10. Like, this is a freaking mondo. I get it in. It's freaking like 12.4 or 12.5. Dude, I give Quentin credit. The whole freaking day, all he does is give me shit. He's like, all I want to do is catch a 10-pounder, and you got to throw at the freaking dot. So every time we go out now and film some stuff, dude, he gives me shit about the 12-pounder we caught on the drone on accident when he was supposed to catch a freaking 10-pounder. So
good things happen when you least expect it.
And that's exactly it. I welcome it. And it was stupid. He got some ridiculous shots on the drone, dude. Like the thing's going, and he's got the drone right over it, and it's just, oh, dude, it was freaking cool.
That's epic.
Awesome.
It's epic. Hell yeah. Well, dude, for the folks that are tuning in and as well as for MP3 after the fact, what you got coming up that people can look forward to? Any trips, anything like that?
We're down in Florida. I'll be shooting a ton of stuff here. So I'm hoping to be posting some epic stuff. We've had some fun down here thus far. So I got some kind of fun videos. I also got some videos, for as much as I like to focus on the fishing, there's a lot of conversations to be had. I don't get into the treachery and debauchery and all that. Like it's there's a fine line between fishing and politics, and I'd like to keep it fishing versus politics. But at the same time, there's some questions that I think are good questions that, we want to talk about, whether it's the grass question, whether it's ethics when it comes to fishing. These are things that like, they're decent conversations to have. So I got some videos about that, just asking some questions, looking for some feedback. And then, of course, we got some pretty killer fishing videos coming too. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And hopefully I'll be down here for another couple of weeks. I'm hoping I get into a mega bag and smash them. So we will see what happens.
Hell yeah, bro. Well, Andy, you got anything left for Mikey here before we let him go?
Nah, man. It's just always good catching up. That's for sure.
Yeah, dude. And we need to catch up on your short thing too. Like we gotta
get there.
Yeah, I'm terrible about freaking the calendar stuff, dude. It's been it's good to be needed, and it's good to have a lot of people like reaching out from a business standpoint and making money, especially with the way the economy is going. But it also it sucks because I want to do more fishing stuff.
Fair enough.
But I need to tell you guys before you kick me out of this thing, there is a continual open invitation for both you guys to come freaking crash at my house, or we actually run an Airbnb down in Guntersville too. You guys are always welcome. Door is open. All I ask is that you bring me some weird freaking fishing bait that's like some custom design, like can't get it anywhere but like this corner store in New York. You bring that and dude, you're free. I will feed you. The dog will snore next to you and lick your earlobe. It will be a positive experience. You guys can go fish Guntersville and do whatever you want.
Listen, I'll be in Florida for a week in April. So if you're around, I'll be in Tampa area.
I will not be around, but
See?
You won't need me.
There you go.
Because you're going to smash them, dude. You're going to have it. So funny thing, before we cut out, if people do want to come to Florida, everybody talks about January, February. It's good. Don't get me wrong. You want the most for like giants, that's when you come. If you want the most consistent, like awesome fishing, like maybe not giants, but a lot of bigs, a lot of bites, is freaking April and May, dude. The temperatures get calm, like the weather gets stabilized. There's still fish spawning. There's fish in the shad spawn, the brim spawn starting. It's a fun time to be in Florida fishing.
Oh, all right. There you go, people.
Yeah.
Go check that out. Would you say too?
What are you doing in Florida?
Oh, so my wife's family gets a house somewhere every year, somewhere along the Gulf Coast, and we're going to be on Anna Marie Island, I believe. I think
dude, that's
right,
gorgeous. That's high class, bro.
Yeah, so we'll be there for
well, dude.
Andy's bougie.
We'll be there.
I
think
would
for
say
6 or 7 days leading into Easter, and I think we fly out like Easter morning. Like that's the time our rental ends. I'm gonna fish a day with Steve Mooey over in Tampa. I think he lives on Tarpon Lake. So I might hit a day on Tarpon. He's like, "Oh, you can come fish the Wednesday nighter with me." And I'm like, "Oh, that sounds like fun, actually."
You just name it. You just lake name drop, bro.
That's fine. It's Tarpon Lake. No one cares.
You'll have fun over there. And then there's another one called what the hell is it? The something river that's over the Hillsborough River. That's another little sneaky place actually over there. That's kind of like Metro Tampa. That's freaking pretty cool, dude. I've never fished it, but I know some guys that do.
Fun. Yeah. Well, dude, I'm definitely gonna take you up on that Gville offer. I bet it's the one lake I've been dying to go down to. That and the Lanier, dying to go down to. It's a little tour.
You need to go to Lanier and go to Hammond's if you go to Lanier. The most epic freaking bait store you will ever go in, dude. They have everything, and then in the back they got freaking live blueback herring. And bro, you want to see some cool shit? Like they have shad in tanks and blueback herring in there. These giant concrete like square tanks that are like 2 to 3 foot deep, and you can see the herring when you go and like scare them. They ball up and they like do what herring do because they're caught in Lanier, so you can actually see how they behave, dude, and what they look like. It's the coolest place ever, man. And Tim, who owns that, dude, he's a hammer and he's just the nicest guy. He'll tell you exactly what's going on the lake, dude.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's on the bucket list. I've been to like Dayton Boat Dock and stuff like that, but I need to get to Hammond's, but also GTO. That's another. I haven't been to
GTO. Paul is a great dude, man. And waterfront's right in front of the boat ramp. You can rent a cabin, or you can stay by me, free living, dude, and freaking hang out. And we'll go down to Paul and say hello, dude. He's actually running a podcast too. You could probably do what do you call that? When you do one like off site, you know, you could probably do a podcast from his place, dude, off site. He's got the fancy microphones and all that stuff.
There you go. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Love it.
Sounds like a good time to me. Well, bro, seriously, thank you so much for taking the time out tonight. I'm sorry we got you out here pretty late. But either way, appreciate the time, and man, I'm looking forward to joining the watch party when you hit 100K.
He gets a boat. You get a boat.
Right. I'll be looking forward to
Oprah bass fishing. Love it.
Yeah. Well, dude, I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Freaking, it's what you guys are doing has a lot of meaning. And you guys are, you know, you approach things from a very balanced standpoint. You know, you talk about fishing, about learning, but you're not afraid to delve into some of those more red lighted topics and have an honest and balanced conversation. And you're not afraid to have people on that might disagree with you or bring different perspectives. And that's a powerful thing, dude, because if you're not willing to have a discussion, we're not going to go anywhere with this shit, whether it's FFS, whether it's spraying grass, anything like that, dude. So I appreciate what you guys are doing. And I'm happy to see Bailey, I've been, Jesus, I've known you for what now? 8 years or so? 9
around there. Yeah. You were one of the first guests when it was started. We had our 5-year anniversary 10 days ago.
It's pretty badass to see what you made this into, dude, because everybody sees this, you know, the little 3-panel with guests. They don't see all the hard work and all the bullshit and all just the grinding that it takes to put this together, dude. So props to you guys for sticking with it and not going anywhere.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. But dude, we got to get you on here more often, sooner than later. That's for dang sure. It's the same thing about Casey.
Get me on there with Casey, dude. I want to bullshit with that guy. He was cool as hell, man.
We can make that happen. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, because we can bitch about grass spraying from a, you know, you can be like, hey, you know, they spray the grass up here. I'll be like, you know, they spray the grass down here too, you know, and we'll have one of those deals, dude.
Oh, that's perfect.
Don't tell him I said that. He might get offended, bro.
Oh, we got the timestamp, right? We're putting it right up on the internet.
He's
a hockey boy. He can handle the chirping. He'll dish it out.
Oh, don't you know?
I actually, when he started talking about hockey, I got all fired. God, that brings in a whole mother. So I was supposed to play hockey, but I played baseball and I broke my thumb the year we were going to start playing hockey, and then I never went back. And I feel like I'm less of a man because I didn't play hockey. I'll be totally honest with you. So
yeah, it's in your blood from up in the cheese country.
Yeah, and we produced a few hockey guys. It's not as big as up by you, but there's been a few.
It's still pretty good, man. Minnesota, Wisconsin's
Minnesota's good. Those guys are the Minnesota guy, and the Yoopers that up in Michigan where you either drink beer or you go to the rink. You know, like those guys, they hit pretty hard. You know.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've never heard them called Oopers before. That's fantastic.
I'm gonna take that.
You never heard of Oopers?
No.
Did you get that from Ben?
The Upper Peninsula.
Yeah, I knew what it was. Oopers. It's a little too far away.
Oh, bro, yeah, they're the freaking Oopers, bro. Like, yeah, you gotta go hang out in Wisconsin. There ain't nothing to do but drink beer and fish or ride a freaking snowmobile. But yeah, you can bust the balls of the Oopers, and then the Minnesotans up there in the Twin Cities, you know.
Yeah, you got the accent down pat. I love it.
Yeah, well, I got one. It's freaking Al Lindler, basically, but it works, you know.
Close enough.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, speaking of Lindner's, man, there's actually something pretty cool brewing that I'm not allowed to talk about right now, but I was informed about it. That's coming. It's pretty damn cool.
Is it from Al?
No, not from Al, but it's gonna be about the whole Lindner family. I think he's got the Lindner family's got a stake in it, but it's pretty damn cool. It's kind of like a whole look back on everything, but
that's pretty cool. They do some good shit, man. I grew up with that, dude. Before we had YouTubes and all that, it was freaking rolling, dude. Classic Patterns. I don't know if you ever saw that show in Fisherman. Like that was your little your quadrant, you know? Yeah, dude. Zona's show, you know, because he's freaking been around before we had all the digital stuff. So I like that stuff, the old classics.
I love to see him thrive, man. I mean, I was just on a trip to Minnesota, actually, with Thomas Allen, who's over at In Fisherman, one of my favorite people in the industry. They're alive and kicking, man. In Fisherman's doing great. It's cool to see some of the classic outlets still alive today, and it's cool to see them like in the transition. You're being summoned from
because they got to change. Change is hard, bro. Like it's not. It doesn't come easy when you have a system that works, and you got to do something completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a celebrity of the MikeyBalzz channel that's just entered the room behind you.
Oh, who's that?
I saw Bog peek his head around you.
Oh, George Beagle is his full name. George Beagle.
George Beagle.
Well, I call him all kinds of different shit. Bog Washington. He's got all kinds of stuff.
Bog Washington's good.
Oh,
dude,
or
that's
Abraham
awesome.
Lincoln, one of the former presidents. Oh, he's got terrible breath though, dude. He's actually pissed at me because he's at the few times we're going fishing, he's had to sit in the AC, dude, because it's like 97,000 degrees outside, and he's made of charcoal, dude, and all he does is get hot. So
probably, it's probably smart. He loves the boat
ready
though.
To lick some fish. Dude, he loves the boat. Ever tell you a story about him?
When you hooked him
now I'm running long. Well, I did hook him in the butt. When we got him, he's from a rescue. He's actually from the Lee County, South Florida rescue down there. Like not the rescue, like the dog jail, like the whatever, the animal control. So we got him, and he was super disposition, awesome, But we got him. They cut his balls off, and we picked him up. And bro, he was like, he's really cool with everybody, but skittish in a vehicle. And the first time I ever took him in the truck, he was just shaking the whole time. Like I've had him in the truck in the front seat and he's just shaking. I'm like, okay, well, we got to get through this, So he's shaking. I get him on the boat and he basically hides under the console. I had like a 2003 Triton, like old school, way back in the day, hides under the console, dude, never comes out. I'm like, all right, it's a first time. Like, I don't think animals are kids, but, mentally, like that's, a part of the process. You got to go through it. So we kept going out, he got used to the truck, started standing up and sitting in the seat in the truck and all that, like kind of got more confident. I knew he was my dog and that he sort of respected me as the alpha and all that. The moment he started popping up whenever I'd catch a fish, because he literally learned he would hide like be under that console, and I would get so excited about catching a fish. I think it sort of rubbed off on him, or he recognized like, this is cool. Like this is dude, over a process of about 3 or 4 months, taking him out on the boat, going fishing, going in the truck, gradually, every time I'd set the hook or he'd hear the drag or I'd get excited, he'd hear that freaking braid go, that dog went from sleeping under the console. He would pop up and he would be right behind me, all up in my business going, what's going on? Where's it at? And then he started licking fish and doing all that. So that's a awesome dog success story for you, dude. Like take him straight out of the rescue, show him fish, let him nip at the fish, but it's a process. They're not going to get there right away, dude. And he is the best on the boat. He's respectful. He knows where to stand, but he absolutely loves when I set the hook.
That's awesome. That's all you can ask for, man.
Love it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Incredible. Yeah. Hey, he's a sweetheart, man. He's got a lot of Bog fans. I still got my Bog shirt.
Do you really?
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
well.
I would say I have it. My wife has it now. She wears that all the time.
Dude, I'll tell you, this is terrible to say, but I've been with the same girl for years upon years. But if I was still in the mix as a bachelor, one of my strongest sell points would be that guy right there, dude.
Oh yeah,
he could pull so much, bro. Like, oh hi, I want to be your friend. Let me show you how cute all that shenanigans, bro. I wish I'd have had him in college. I could have gotten in real trouble. Yeah, this is public, right? Like everyone can watch.
You're live right now, bro.
I'm like, we're live.
Hey, I don't know if I tell you an hour and a half in, but yeah, we're live.
Great, thanks for the heads up, Bailey.
You're welcome.
Oh shit!
Oh man, dude, seriously, appreciate you a ton, and we'll be talking to you real soon, Mikey.
Sir,
sounds good, boys. Appreciate you having me on, and keep doing what you're doing. All right.
Yeah. Same to you, sir. We'll talk to you soon. Peace. That's Mr. MikeyBalzz, everybody. Dude, every time he gets on here, it's 1, a good time. 2, we learned something. And 3, we got bonus points because we got to see Bog.
Oh, yeah.
You can never complain. Are you going to fall asleep on us, bud?
No, I'm good. I'm a little tired, but we're hanging in there.
That's what you get for going out on the water, you bastard.
No, my bad.
Yeah. Sitting there texting us all the fish pictures and everything while all of us are working and Andy's the only one fishing every freaking day. Big bully.
That. Yeah. Well, you're going to be fishing starting Thursday for like 5 days straight, and I'm not going to fish
Not
again until
5 days
next
straight.
Wednesday.
It's Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, it's more fishing than I'll be doing the next 5 days.
Oh, get out of here, bro. You're on the water almost every day. I do not want to hear it. I don't want to hear it at all.
Fair. That is fair.
Well, folks, appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Appreciate everybody that is tuning into this after the fact and listening on MP3.
Yo,
if you didn't hear it on, because obviously this portion with MikeyBalzz, this outro here is ended up going to be Friday's episode for MP3. I'll relay this information right now. 20% off site-wide at Hobie Eyewear as well as Omnia Fishing. Now is the time to save money. Click the links down below. Save some money on it. And really, Hobie Eyewear, you can get 20% off site-wide because there's always our discount code to Hobie Eyewear. So make sure you guys tune into that. Save some money on it. And next week is going to be a Tuesday Night Live with Cal Patrick and Wesley Gore.
So the Step Brothers.
The old Step Brothers of the Elite Series. We're going to be having on.
It's a good thumbnail.
And, yeah. Well, let me tell you what, guys. Here, I can't give them all away. I want to, leave some surprise for future shows. But here's some of the guests upcoming for the Serious Angler podcast. So we obviously have Kyle and Wesley next week. We also have Ken Duke coming on the show. We got Pat Schlapper coming on as well. We're working on getting Bernie Schultz scheduled for a show as well. He wants to do some stories that over the years in fishing, as well as we are getting the what would you call the rookie frat house of the Elite Series on as well. We're gonna have Logan Parks, John Garrett, Cody Huff. Well, I guess he's not really a rookie anymore, but
he's young
and
enough,
Rob G.
Oh God,
we're gonna get them all on one episode.
The frat house panel.
The frat house, yeah, I guess we can call him that. Cody Huff is like Big Papa of the group, keeping them all sane. So,
his grandpa.
Yeah, him and John Garrett keeping them boys in line. But it'll be good to get all of them on at the same time. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But we'll keep you guys updated as the weeks go on. We have some amazing shows coming up with some incredible guests. And thanks again to Casey Smith and Mr. MikeyBalzz for joining the show tonight. Folks, you guys are incredible. Appreciate each and every one of you that tune into the show. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.